All right, so um, we're gonna be talking about DNA. So three things that stuck out in the video that I watched um, was without DNA, you wouldn't look the way you do or act the way you do. Slash have the certain characteristics that you have, which is pretty interesting. Also, I did not know that we are 99.9% the same as everybody else. So when people are looking in order to convict someone or find out who the victim was, they only use that 1% difference. So that's cool. Also, I found this on the web, but DNA has a half life of 521 years. So you can clone anything that is not older than 2 million years old. I believe that is what I read, but yeah, so that's pretty cool. What is PCR? PCR is polymerase chain reaction. It's a method to get DNA typing. It's not a DNA typing. So it makes copies of DNA to help identify the victim or culprit in a crime. So you can make copies of DNA even if you only have one drop of blood. Everything you need to use PCR comes in a kit. What is STR? It is short tandem repeats. This method provides greater discrimination. It requires less time and smaller sample size of DNA, and it is less susceptible to degradation. Degradation. There you go. What is allele? One. It is one of two or more alternative forms of a gene that arises by mutation. Um, Yeah, and it's found on the same place on a chromosome. What is loci or loci? I don't even know. It is a specific fixed position on a chromosome where a particular gene or genetic marker is located. Um, so one case where DNA conviction was like where someone was convicted for their crimes using DNA was the case of William Earl Talbot II. So he, killed this young Canadian couple in 1987, and because they found some semen on the crime scene, and they linked his DNA to his cousin's DNA that used a website, the GED Match database, and this case provided like many controversies with people saying that, oh, my DNA is private, like they just went to that website without my permission and blah blah blah. But anyways, they convicted him because of his cousins trying to figure out their background using a website. um, and then one case where DNA was used to exonerate someone was the case of Horace Roberts. He was supposedly convicted for strangling his girlfriend to death um, on in 1998. Um, and the only reason that they convicted him was because she was driving his truck. There was no DNA evidence, that linked him to the crime. It was just his truck was there, and they just were like, "Oh, his truck is there, so we're gonna convict him." But that wasn't the case. So he was sentenced 15 years to life in prison. But he was someone in prison told him about um, the Innocence Project, and they helped him, clear his name because since they didn't find any DNA evidence, they used that, and they were like, no, you know what? Like, we're actually gonna like invest our time into this person who they wrongfully convicted, and he was released in 2018, October 3rd. So he spent 20 years in prison, and he was finally released 20 years later. Um, yeah, so there you go.